What is up, bros? Josh here. In today's video, we're bringing you a pretty epic Kronshtadt game we had the other day. We were grinding some extra credits for the new directives that just came out for part of the recent event, and we thought we'd get it done with obviously the Kronshtadt. This thing can farm massive credits, tier 9 Soviet cruiser, and actually we got into a pretty fun brawling situation, which is the highlight of this game in this video. And also it was a fun kind of cyclone game. I tend to hate cyclones. I would say that the bane of my existence, but this one, hey, I'll say, hey, I was a fan of this one because it ended up working out for me. But we are on mountain range tier 9, and we actually got top tiered, which I will always take at tier 9. It seems like there's maybe been a little bit of a shift for matchmaking. It seems like tier 9's getting really good matchmaking, and some other tiers not so much. It's kind of an interesting thing with more and more tier 10s full of tier 10 ships, with the other ones maybe not as the fillers, if you will. It's actually made tier 9 and some kind of a weird shift of some pretty good matchmaking. But though the Kronshtadt, amazing. And I actually noticed that while I was playing this game that I didn't have expert loader on this ship. So if you haven't gotten expert loader on your Kronshtadt, I do highly recommend it. It can be extremely good. Obviously, we want to stay away from that Kitakaze. Mountain Range to me is an interesting map, and one of the main reasons being is that there's a lot of traps in this map. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of areas that people will go and then they will get stuck there. As you see, I spawned farthest left of my entire team, and I completely avoided those islands. There's islands both on the left and right side. To me and to a lot of people, you will just get absolutely stuck in there, and it's so hard to get out, especially if there's a DD there. As you see, normally what ends up happening is teams will go basically at an angle. They don't want to sail perfectly broadside. At least you hope your battleships aren't sailing broadside. And you are then going and sailing towards straight, basically, but kind of angled, so you can keep all your guns on target, yada yada. But what ends up happening is, as you see, both teams, you get caught in these areas. So everyone kind of files out to the one line, files out to that. So to me, a good little like tip and trick, I guess, is avoid these traps. There's couple maps that are just full there. Mountain Range is one of them. Land of Fire is another one where there are just some trap parts I completely avoid. And as I'm trying to point out to the Soyuz is that there is a DD over there. I'm trying to tell him not to push, and because once he gets in there, that destroyer's gonna be able to farm him. So a nice little learning experience here is, as you see, try to kind of avoid these. So we're in a weird spot right now, though. Our other side has a big advantage, and right now it's really important for us to basically not trade pretty well over here. If we can just trade fairly well, we're going to be okay. And unluckily, the Mogador is going to keep on firing at stuff, and he's going to end up going down here to that Kitakaze. So we are in a weird spot. Luckily, though, I am a radar cruiser, so we can put a little bit of pressure on him. But still, since it's just standard battle, I'm trying to put some pressure on the middle, since it's Udachi versus Friesland. And the Friesland is just really, really good. If you've played the Friesland, you know how strong it can be. But really trying to hold as much life as possible, because if we need to make a move or need to make a play, we definitely can. But right now, though, it's kind of balanced. We've killed 2 ships to their 1, but we did lose a Mogador, and they've lost a Neptune and another DD. So for right now, we'll kind of take that. And also putting a little bit of pressure on this Kitakaze, because he's just in the perfect little farm zone. So we're putting a little shot on him if we need to, but obviously he gets behind that rock. And again, tried to get the Soyuz to bail if he could, and he didn't bail. So a bit of a bummer there, but again, the main things I'm looking at right now is, one, trying to put some pressure on these battleships, trade well, and not get citadeled, and kind of just see what happens with the middle. I'm kind of keeping my eye on the middle, because there is the Friesland. If we need to rotate back, we can. There is the Ashitaka as well, and put some pressure on this DD if needed. But I'm going to do my little you get a fire, and just farm a little bit of damage, because we're trying to get credits, and the more damage you do, obviously the more credits you'll get, so it's all good. But the Kronshtadt, for some reason, is not going to give me a decent salvo there. What the heck? Come on, Kronshtadt. But still, just kind of chilling. But right now, we're just watching the rest of the team, and I guess one of the main things that this video is kind of about is cyclones. Now, if you've ever watched me and we stream all these games live on twitch.tv, is I despise cyclones. I absolutely despise cyclones. I think they slow down the game. I don't think they bring anything fun to this game. And this one was a rare situation where cyclone actually worked out for me. Now, if you don't know what a cyclone is, depending on a random time in the game, you will get a 5-minute countdown as you see the little stormy emblem right here with a minute and 20 seconds left. Once you get that, you will then start to the viewing range. The max viewing range will then decrease. I believe it's 20 something kilometers down to 8 kilometers, and you can only see ships with that unless you have radar. So luckily we are a radar cruiser, so we did get lucky. But me, I just despise cyclones. I think World of Warships already is a slow enough game, and what it does is just kind of slows down the game even more. But if you're in a radar ship like I am in this game, it can be kind of nice, I guess, because you will get a little bit of an advantage, because if you have radar, you can then see past the 8 kilometers. So again, just keeping our eye out, and then kind of starting to get into a spot where I can rotate towards. So I was waiting to see where this Kitakaze went, because right now we have a Jean Bart as well as the Soyuz that's over here. And if I can just get into a spot to block the middle, as I'm really nervous about these guys. The Kitakazes here, the Frieslands here, those are both nasty, nasty ships. But those DDs can burn through a cruiser extremely fast. Although we are doing pretty well on the other side. We're up 2 ships right now, but the 2 DDs have rotated middle, so I'm going to try to get pressure on that. We can put some damage in on these battleships, and I can put some pressure on the DDs in the middle. But right now we're kind of trading a couple ships here and there. But I want to get that radar into a spot. Maybe I can help out with the Kitakaze that's in that smoke, but I'm trying to stay dark. Trying to do a bunch of things at one time, but basically just trying to put some pressure and then rotate into a better spot. I imagine that both the Soyuz and this the Jean Bart could probably either get a ram off or pump some damage in. As you see, I'm trying to get into a spot where I can radar this Kitakaze, put a shot into him, put some pressure on him. But I just don't want them to push through. We have a Nagato that basically sat in the back the entire time and was just kind of sitting there. He basically sat there almost the entire game. And the Ibuki is going to get farmed. That's the thing about the Kitakaze as well as the Friesland, is their damage output is insane. Their damage output is insane, both those ships. And right now, the Friesland is basically spotting for the Kitakaze, and the Kitakaze can burn through an Ibuki, as it's doing right now. You'll see it in the kill feed in just a second. You're going to burn through a tier 9 cruiser in a matter of just seconds. You know, few salvos, you're getting 3-4K on a ship like that. A salvo just absolutely will rip through it. So definitely I need to rotate and get that pressure on this. But one thing about the Kronshtadt is it has surprisingly good AP. If you've never played the Kronshtadt, this ship is extremely solid at putting a ton of damage both with HE and AP. A little inconsistent on the salvos, as you can see right there. We had 4 in one spot, 2 in another. It does get some pretty inconsistency there, but one thing we can do is pump in some broadside AP, and I think I even switch in right here towards AP. I'm keeping these destroyers in check right now. If you could see my eyes, I basically am looking at those almost exclusively. While just putting in these shots. And here you see the Cyclone starting to put some pressure in. So I have 12 kilometers radar, which means I can see those guys with about a 4-kilometer buffer. But these are pretty nasty battleships. We have the Missouri, which also has radar at 10 kilometers. We have the Jean Bart, which has the reload booster, as well as the Vladi. And I'm thinking, okay, Soyuz versus those. Soyuz versus Jean Bart is actually a great fight as long as you shoot an AP. The Jean Bart's going to have a really tough time doing damage. So I figured they would get probably some trades. We have our Jean Bart working. Friesland kills the other Friesland. So I'm trying to see what the best play is right here. I just don't want to let this Kitakaze get through. And the Jean Bart, as you see right there, kills our Soyuz. And now it's the 1v3. I'm thinking, okay, maybe our Jean Bart can do something, and then I'll come back if needed. I really don't want to let this guy push through the middle. If he does, then it's going to be basically GG. He's going to kill the Udachi. He's going to then be able to stay dark, and I'll try to put something. So if we have to do the sacrificial lamb of the Jean Bart, we will. But since the Kitakaze then rotates north, I'm like, okay, I have to help out this Jean Bart as he perfectly pings me. I'm in the process of rotating over there anyway. and we can hopefully do some decent damage. Last we saw, our Jean Bart was pretty healthy, but obviously he's taking some damage in. Our Nagato sitting in the back, just absolutely chilling, and we're going to push straight across. So one thing we want to do, though, is we want to watch this circle right here, because if they're within that range, a little bit closer within that, obviously we have 12 kilometer radar, we want to get those AP broadsides in. Vladi is the perfect target, because if you've ever played against Russian battleships, you know that their broadsides are extremely weak when it comes to AP. Bow in, they are absolute monsters, but you know, broadside, we can absolutely chunk those. So Friesland goes down to the Kitakaze, kind of getting a little bit scary up there, and the Jean Bart isn't quite as healthy as I was hoping. And really, if I can pump in a little bit of damage here, we can do hopefully save our Jean Bart, but the Jean Bart takes a bunch of damage there. And now it's me versus the battleship core over here. We get a couple citadels, we're up to 120,000 damage, and now it's time to go man mode. So we play a little safe here. We went from being up in this game pretty heavily. We do end up killing the Kitakaze, so that's kind of off the board, but our Bismarck is going to be a little scary. We have an Alaska and a Charles. The average Bismarck, I would assume, has no chance of doing that. But right now, what they're going to do is get onto that cap and start putting some pressure in. I figured I would wait till this Udachi gets down here because he can start launching in some torps. And I don't want to throw away my ship. Since we only are up by, I think we're even ship-wise, but we do have the DD. And if those guys are still in the corner, our Bismarck's going to actually stop their cap. We'll get a nice little lead, even if we trade the Bismarck, maybe trade a ship or two, and we can hopefully get that. Because a Bismarck is really, really scary when it comes to getting spotted at 8 kilometers, because you're going to be lit up by secondaries, yada, yada. But the Charles and him working together should hopefully be a nice little trade-off. They can maybe kill the Charles, kill the Alaska. But me, I just need to not die. If I don't die, we could probably be pretty good here. But I do need to keep kind of angled. And this is not what I wanted at all. But this is when the Kronshtadt goes game mode. And we went in at 119 and watch this damage. So this situation right here, I'm like, crap. I don't want all this damage to be hitting my face. Worst case scenario, going in fairly armored cruiser, I guess. Fairly armored cruiser, and going against 3 battleships. So we got lucky on the first salvo, a nice little 10k. The Vladi did almost no damage to me. And I'm trying to think of the best 2-for-1. Now, in warships, I always talk about that. It's not the worst thing in the world to die, but what you want to do is trade as well as possible. And I thought about maybe going for the Missouri, angle towards one, guns on the other. And what I'm going to do here is just keep kind of angled. He puts a little bit of damage in, and took down the Jean Bart. He puts in a nice salvo there, and we're going to take that out right there. So we'll take 2. We started out 119. And we go in against it up to almost 190. Missouri hit me for a decent salvo. Vladi hit me for a decent salvo, but it's all right. We're in the Kronshtadt. Russian balance right here. And yeah. Kronshtadt versus battleships. No big deal. A 1v3. And yes, it really was us. We brought it back. And a nice little fun brawl. You usually don't get that when it comes to these games, but it's always fun having a nice little kind of, I don't even know what that is. You don't really get that anymore when it comes to World of Warships. Also, we took a bunch of damage, but hey, we will take the 3-for-1 right there. And 7 citadels throughout that whole, well, I guess 5 in that spot, but 7 citadels total. And as you see, chat's like, oh, yeah, I guess that happened. And Udachi smoking up there for some reason. And hey, there we go. And no problem, ineffable. If you're hanging out, man, hope you enjoyed that. We did end up winning this game. So the Bismarck will be pushing in. And so right now it's kind of a mix of, hey, how healthy are they? What do we do? Because right now we basically don't need to go kill them. The Bismarck will die. That's fine. All we need to do is hopefully just hold these. They're not going to have the time to get down south. Basically, just don't die. Somebody says they're basically both half, and I'm thinking about it. We'll get up to about 20-some K. I'm not so worried about the Charles. I'm more worried about the Alaska, since the Alaska is a bit of a bummer. He says the Charles is a little less than that. So unluckily, I don't have superintendent on this. So the Alaska will have probably radar, and I will not. But I figure I can take out the Charles. So we'll keep a little aggressive line here. We do have the Nagato as well. And I was hoping that maybe like the Udachi would just get some spots, but again, it's 8 kilometers, so the cyclone is going. And really, I'm not a big fan of cyclones. I'm interested in what you guys think. Whenever I talk about them in chat, again, we play all these live, twitch.tv/mejosh. It seems to be kind of split. I would say a little bit, maybe 2/3, 1/3. Of 2/3 of people don't like cyclones. Maybe a third of people do. Some people think they're fun. Some people think they are. Some people think they're annoying like me. I think they're annoying, and it's, as you see, it's starting to clear up now. To me, I feel like I wish cyclones were cool when they first started, but I feel like they maybe happen a tad too often now, and I would like to see maybe cyclones as often as I see ocean map. Ocean map, yes, it's kind of the meme map, it's the most historically accurate, yada yada. I would love to see cyclones maybe that frequent. I feel like in a 4-hour session or something like that, you'll see 2 or 3 or 4 cyclones, and you'll go a week without seeing ocean. I feel like cyclones are cool when it's completely rare, but if you're getting a ton more, and this is why I was a little nervous about the Alaska. If you've ever played against an Alaska, you know basically that happens. They seem to be uncitadelable unless you're playing like a Yamato or something like that. So I figured, hey, you're in Alaska, you win, you can't be hurt anyways. And so what we'll do is we will take out the Charlie Brown Martel, put in that broadside. He's just chilling anyway, and down he goes. So the Kronshtadt, I feel like I do a video maybe every 6 months reminding myself just how good the Kronshtadt is. This is a ship that I tend to not play that much. And but when I do, it always reminds me just how good it is. The ship is an absolute monster. And really kind of really enjoy it when I have to play it. And it was funny too, because you'll see the results after this. Basically, he goes out and he's just super focused on me. You'll see the results. I think we needed like 2.5 million credits or something like that when it comes to earning them with the Russian cruisers, and we needed like 500,000 left. I think I even said when I go into this, watch, now this is going to be the game where I make a ton of credits, and we'll get to the results page in just a second. So a nice little fun brawl right there. But as you can see right here, I think we needed 500,000 of the 2.5 million, and yeah, we earned a decent amount of credits right there. Again, we were all flagged out and camoed out, yada yada. We had all the good stuff on. But a pretty epic game. Anything over 200,000 is always solid. One off the Kraken, couldn't quite get it. We had to share the kills. But we went in and had a nice little brawl right there. A whole bunch of citadels. The 1v3 on the battleships I thought was pretty cool. Chat was going pretty crazy when that happened. So that was always fun. And obviously a pretty high base XP and all of that. But I'm interested in what you guys think about cyclones. Do you think they should be a tad more rare? Do you enjoy playing them? Do you think they bring anything to the game? I'm all for like a little spice of life and having some, you know, some variety every once in a while, but I feel like to me they don't bring too much to the game. Or maybe I like the thunderstorms a lot more because at least you can play around them and it doesn't completely block them. And obviously I feel like cyclones give a tad of an advantage to radar ships. Obviously we put in a pretty decent salvo against that Kronshtadt, or not the Kronshtadt, with the Kronshtadt against the Vladi as well as the Missouri. We were able to get, I think, 2 citadels in one radar. They can't defend themselves. So to me, not the biggest fan. I wish they would kind of get rid of it, but I'm interested in what you guys think. But overall, a pretty fun game. The fun little brawl, that's what I really wanted to show off, and hope you guys enjoyed that. Hope you guys having some pretty good games out there. Anyways, that's it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.